Let's bring in Republican vice presidential nominee, Senator J.D. Vance. Senator, good to see you. Your thoughts? Did you hear this speech? What'd you think?
Well, look, my response to this is they cannot say that Kamala Harris has lowered your grocery prices because she hasn't. They can't say that Kamala Harris has lowered the price of housing because she hasn't. They can't say that Kamala Harris has secured the border because she's opened the border. What they can say, Brett, and what so many of the speakers did, including Tim Walz, is basically say that if you want a better life for your children, if you want to vote for Donald Trump to change the direction of this country, you're a bad person. And I think that's just a fundamental message that falls flat for Americans who have suffered under the policies of Kamala Harris. Where is the vision? Where are the details? Where can they say that Kamala Harris's record has actually made your life better as an American citizen? Because they can't do that, I thought it was actually a very dark and ominous tone where they attacked Donald Trump and they attacked the people who voted for him rather than offer a compelling vision for the future. So it fell flat to my ears. Of course, the American people will make the ultimate decision.
Senator Vance, Martha McCallum here. So, one of the most fundamental responsibilities of a vice president is that you're one heartbeat away from the presidency. It's a very serious responsibility. What do you think you heard tonight in terms of Governor Walz's ability to step into that Oval Office?
Well, I didn't hear much on that account, Martha. I mean, what I heard was a guy who was trying to defend Kamala Harris. And importantly, he talked a lot, Martha, about Kamala Harris's vision for all the things that she would do to lower the cost of this or that. And I kept on wanting him to say, this is what she's already done, because it's one thing to promise things in the future, but when you're defending the sitting vice president of the United States, day one of her administration is not 6 months from now. Day one of her administration was 1,300 days ago, and she hasn't done anything. It's been her policies that have actually caused so many of the problems. So these people can't get up there and offer all these promises and the vision for the future. They need to be able to say, we did this thing and it made your life better. And because they can't say that, it's a lot of rhetoric and a lot of generalized promises about the future, but that's not going to help the American people afford groceries or housing. In fact, Kamala Harris's policies have done the exact opposite.
Yeah, Senator, there was one point where Governor Walz said that you all have a playbook, and he depicted what you and your ticket, the former president, and you are going to do. And he got specific. Here it is.
I coached high school football long enough to know, and trust me on this, when somebody takes the time to draw up a playbook, they're going to use it. And we know if these guys get back in the White House, they'll start jacking up the costs on the middle class. They'll repeal the Affordable Care Act. They'll gut Social Security and Medicare. And they will ban abortion across this country, with or without Congress.
Okay, so will you jack up the costs on the middle class? Will you do all of the list of things there?
No, Brett, of course not. The amnesia required to utter those words from Tim Walz. When Donald Trump was president, prices for the middle class were the lowest they had been. Wages were rising. The border was secure. It's so preposterous to say that Donald Trump is going to jack prices up on the middle class. When he was president, the middle class had the best rising take-home pay that they've had in a generation in this country. And again, it just highlights the extraordinary contrast. Donald Trump can point to 4 years of successful leadership and say, I delivered rising prices, rising wages for American workers. Rather, I delivered rising take-home pay, and I delivered a secure border. These guys are accusing Donald Trump of doing what Kamala Harris has actually done during her 3.5 years as vice president. I think the American people are way too smart to buy it.
Okay, but the other two things. Will you ban Affordable Care Act?
No, in fact, Brett, as you know, when Donald Trump was president, he fought to deliver higher quality, lower cost health care plans to the American people. A lot of Americans can't afford health insurance right now because it's one of many things that's gone through the roof. They can't get access to the doctors they need. They can't get access to the prescription drugs that they need. And Donald Trump has actually fought for affordable health care for the entire American citizenry. What I found so odd about this, Brett, about this entire speech and all of the things I heard from the convention speakers is they're painting this very dark and ominous portrait of of the presidency of Donald Trump when Donald Trump's presidency delivered peace and prosperity for the American people? Why can't they run on Kamala Harris and what she's accomplished? Why do they have to lie about Donald Trump? It suggests that they actually don't have a whole lot to run on.
What did you think about his comment? You going to Yale, so, calling you basically Mr. Fancy Pants Ivy League.
Well, as you guys know, I grew up in a very poor family. I was raised by a grandmother who didn't graduate from high school, much less from college. And I'm proud of the fact that she really worked her tail off, that she went to her grave fighting to give me opportunities. I'm not ashamed of the fact that my grandmother sacrificed for me and I was able to live the American dream. I'm proud of what I accomplished. And more importantly, I'm proud of all the people who sacrificed in order to give me a better life. I would think Tim Walz would want to praise people who sacrifice to give their children and grandchildren a better life, not put me down. But I guess this is the political order of the day. He's going to attack me. That's fine. But I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of what they sacrificed to make my life possible. And they're going to keep on attacking me, and that's fine.
Are you looking forward to debating him?
Martha, I'm looking so forward to debating him that I volunteered to go and do the CNN debate in mid-September. But of course, Tim Walz talks like a tough guy and is running from that CNN debate. I think it's important, Martha, for us to stand before the American people, answer tough questions, and actually persuade them. I'd love to do it. I will gladly accept a Fox News VP debate, but I don't think Tim Walz will. But I appreciate you guys offering.
All right, Senator Vance, we appreciate your time and your reaction tonight. Thanks.
Good to see you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.